Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Human Form and Function podcast with your host, as always, Matt Kaiser. Today, joining me, I have Spencer C., Chloe Lerch, Delaney Kellam, and Darby Johnston, and we will be discussing the muscular system and muscular dystrophy. We'll start by asking Spencer C. about the muscular system.
All right, to start, some might ask, what is the muscle system? The muscular system is an organ system containing skeletal, cardiac, and smooth muscle. It mainly consists of specialized cells that are called muscle fibers that function in contractibility. Almost all body movement is a result of contractibility of muscles connected to bones or organs and blood vessels. The combination of joints, skeletal muscles, and bones provide the majority of movement in our bodies. Some other functions are posture, heat production, and joint stability. Heat production is essential in maintaining homeostasis. The system also helps circulate blood. The structure of muscle includes an outer layer called the epimysium, which is a connective tissue sheath around everything inside. Some of the epimysium project inwards to divide muscle into compartments. Fascia is responsible for dividing the muscle. Each of the compartments made is composed of many bundles of muscle fibers. Each bundle is called a fasciculus and is surrounded by the perimysium. Within this, each muscle fiber is surrounded by the endomysium, which is also a connective tissue. The connective tissue sheaths allow muscles to withstand forces and contract. Skeletal muscles have an abundant amount of blood vessels and nerves, which allow them to contract easily because of quick nerve impulses and great blood supply. Muscles either attach to bones by tendons or to other muscles by ligaments.
I'm going to stop you right there. Spencer will get right back to you, but first, we're going to do our favorite segment on this show, Fun Facts. Did you know that there are about 600 muscles in the human body? All right, back to you, Spencer.
All right, thanks, Matt. Back to the muscle system. There are three main types of muscles, which include skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, and smooth muscles. Skeletal muscles are voluntary and are striated. Cardiac muscles are involuntary and are also striated, and smooth muscles are involuntary and non-striated. Skeletal muscles are controlled by the central nervous system and are responsible for skeletal movements such as running. The basic unit is the muscle fiber containing many nuclei. Skeletal muscles contract when ordered to. Cardiac muscles are only found in the walls of the heart and are controlled by the autonomic nervous system. Cardiac muscle cells only have one central nucleus and have a rectangular shape. The contractions of cardiac muscles are strong and have a rhythm. Smooth muscles are found in the hollow internal organs such as blood vessels and the bladder and are also under control of the autonomic nervous system. The cells also have one central nucleus and are spindle-shaped. These muscles contract slowly and also have a rhythm. Muscles are named by their features, like size, shape, directions of fibers, location, number of origins, origin and insertion, and action. There are head and neck muscles that aid in chewing, facial expressions, and other movements. The muscles of the trunk move the vertebral column, which maintains posture. They also form the thoracic and abdominal wall, which allow breathing to occur. Lastly, they cover the pelvic outlet, which protects and reinforces it due to no other bones that provide this function. The muscles of the lower and upper extremities create the most movement with a diverse amount of muscles.
Thank you, Spencer, for your explanation of the muscular system. Now, we'll hand it off to Darby Johnston, who will explain how the muscular system maintains homeostasis.
Thanks, Matt. The three types of muscle all maintain homeostasis through different processes. Skeletal muscle helps maintain homeostasis through movement. It's what allows a human to run away from danger or to pull away from something that is hot. It allows for safety and reproduction. Smooth muscle helps with movement in a more involuntary way. These types of muscles line the digestive tract and aid with digestion and excretion of waste. Smooth muscle is also found in the erector pili muscles found in the dermis. These muscles contract all at once, which raises the temperature of the body and causes the hairs to stick up. There is also smooth muscle found in your eyes. It allows for the constriction of the pupil, which also allows more light in the cornea when it is dark and less when there is light.
Sorry, Darby, but I'm going to stop you right there to give another fun fact. Speaking about touching the stove and reacting, the speed of the reflex is incredible, with the reaction to touch stimuli occurring in less than 15 milliseconds. Thank you. Back to you, Darby.
Thanks, Matt. Lastly, the cardiac muscle helps maintain homeostasis in the heart. This type of muscle is only found in the heart, and it is the pump for the circulatory system. Without this muscle, there would be no way for the movement of valuable nutrients such as oxygen to the brain and the removal of carbon dioxide. Back to you, Matt.
Thank you, Darby. Now we'll go to Delaney Kellam, and she will be explaining muscular dystrophy.
Muscular dystrophy is a disease characterized by progressive weakness and loss of muscle mass. It is caused by a mutation on specific genes that interferes with the production of proteins that are necessary in forming healthy, functioning muscles. As muscles begin to atrophy, many people experience symptoms such as falling, trouble walking and jumping, and muscle pain and stiffness. However, symptoms may vary depending on age, gender, and the form of muscular dystrophy that the individual is suffering with. The most common form of this disease is known as Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It is caused by a lack of dystrophin, which is a protein that connects the cytoskeleton of a muscle fiber to the surrounding extracellular matrix through the cell membrane. In other words, dystrophin works to strengthen muscle fibers and protect them from injury while muscles are contracting and relaxing. Therefore, without dystrophin, the muscles throughout the body begin to weaken, causing more serious issues. Some examples include heart problems, breathing problems, and respiratory infections. Over time, all of these effects lead people to be dependent on wheelchairs and sometimes ventilators due to the life-threatening consequences.
Good work, Delaney. Now we'll go to Chloe Lerch, and she will explain how muscle dystrophy affects the homeostasis of the human body.
Awesome, Matt. We're going to hop into how muscular dystrophy disrupts homeostasis. Muscular dystrophy occurs when there is a mutation in the dystrophin gene, which acts as an anchor that connects each muscle cell's structural framework with the lattice of proteins and other molecules outside the cell. This causes there to be a disruption in homeostasis. This disease will cause exhaustion of muscular regenerative capacity. Therefore, muscle fibers cannot regenerate and prolong muscle mass reconstruction. Depending on the severity of this disease, some patients cannot participate in exercise while others are recommended to exercise to improve overall health. Another effect of this disease can be chronic local inflammation, which leads to substitution of myofibrils by connective and adipose tissue. Chronic local inflammation leads to muscle weakness and wasting due to lack of protein, dystrophin. This protein is necessary for muscle growth. Lacking this protein will make simple daily tasks such as walking, swallowing, and muscle coordination a challenge.
All right, now our next topic will be on how to cure this disease, and we'll be back to Darby Johnston.
Diagnosis of muscular dystrophy can be very challenging for doctors. They will most likely run the patient through a medical history and physical examination appointment before recommending a series of tests to help diagnose the disease. Muscular dystrophy has no cure, but there are many forms of treatment that help with maintaining mobility and keeping muscular strength in both the heart and lungs. These include medicine, physical and occupational therapy, assistive devices, and surgical procedures. The medications recommended help to treat different forms of muscular dystrophy. Some aim towards delaying the progression of the disease, others help with muscle strength. Medication is also used in specification to the heart as an angiotensin-converting enzyme inhibitor, which helps with damage on the heart by muscular dystrophy. Those with the disease also have a higher chance of getting different respiratory diseases, so it's important to stay up to date with vaccines.
All right, Darby, we're going to pause you, and now we are going to give you a not-so-fun fact. 1 in 3,000 kids are born with this disease. 1 in 1,200 are either born with or develop muscular dystrophy. Back to you, Darby.
Thanks, Matt. Surgery on muscular dystrophy patients is used to correct spinal curvatures that, when disrupted, lead to difficulty in breathing. The heart can also be benefited through the surgical implantation of cardiac devices such as a pacemaker. Lastly, there are continuous clinical trials and other efforts to try and find helpful treatments for muscular dystrophy. Many specialists are needed in the lives of those who suffer from this disease. These include neurologists, physical medicine and rehabilitation specialists, physical and occupational therapists, pulmonologists, cardiologists, sleep specialists, endocrinologists, orthopedic surgeons, and more. There are many coping and support efforts for those who deal with the disease because of the challenge behind the diagnosis.
To wrap up the presentation, I myself, the host of the podcast, Matt Kaiser, will explain how muscular dystrophy affects people differently based on age, race, and gender. Muscular dystrophy can be found in anyone, but it is most commonly diagnosed in men. This does not mean women can get muscular dystrophy, but it has been concluded that men do often have more symptoms than women do. Men under the age of 40 are more likely to contract the disease. It has also been proven to be more prevalent in Caucasians than in African Americans, but is most prevalent in Hispanics.
Thanks for tuning in to our podcast.